Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 166 for September 29th, 2015. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm your host and organizer of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Bruno One, the special guest coordinator. Wow, it's a hard word. And
coordinator.
And this week I'll hopefully be editing.
We'll
If I
see.
don't die of stroke.
My name is SlaughterGuy317. I'm the media manager for the podcast, and I might be editing if Brent has a stroke, which hopefully he doesn't, because I would miss him.
So we are missing Joel this week. He wasn't feeling very well, so we decided to give him the week off, which works out because, sometimes if you have too many voices going at once, then, it can be a bit overwhelming, and we figured, we were subtracting one this week, so we might just add in another one. What am I talking
special
about?
guest. So
Hey.
we're going to be having a special guest this week, and so joining us on the show is going to be BlindCoyote. So
Hey,
thank you for
guys.
joining us.
Glad to have you. We're glad to be here.
I was like, you're welcome.
Eventually.
You're welcome.
Welcome to the Blind Coyote podcast with 3 special guests.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
So, to give a bit of backstory, we met Blind Coyote at BronyCon this year. At least, perhaps, I met Blind Coyote at BronyCon this year. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I met
how
him first.
you other two people met him.
You did.
But we saw him at BronyCon. I believe he responded to something on Twitter, didn't he, Ted?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So he sent us a Twitter message and he said, "Hey, I've got something for you. Come by my booth." So we eventually tracked him down and found out where he was, and we got to meet him in person. I got to see his artwork for the first time. I hadn't seen any of his artwork before. It looked really, really good. He gave us some prints, which was really awesome, and we had a really great time. So we thought it'd be fun to, invite him on to the show and learn more about you and your artwork.
Yes. So, Bernd, when did you first meet Blind Coyote?
Oh gosh, I think Blind. I think I've seen you at a couple conventions, right?
Yeah, I remember last year meeting a few of you guys in the vendor hall. One of you guys stopped by the table, and I had seen the show before, listened to the show before, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So there's the noise. And
the chances are it was probably me. I'm trying to remember
probably.
what show
Yeah,
or what
probably.
con.
yeah,
Because I definitely know I've seen you at a couple different conventions.
right. And then there's also Dark Flame, and that we know each other through.
Yeah. So the first time we actually got to have an extended conversation was at
Everfree?
Babs Con this
No,
year.
no, I wasn't at Babs. It
No.
was Everfree.
Was it Everfree this year?
Yes.
That's right, with Couch and everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we went out
Yeah,
for
that's right.
sushi and had
Yeah,
great
that's
time.
right.
Nice.
That was the first time we got to actually have a sit down and chat. Okay. And
Yep.
So let's see. And oh yeah, and then during that you showed me a print you were working on that wasn't actually done and is now actually done in your gallery. And so to have
Yes.
something on the screen, to give some example of your work, I will link that in the Skype document. So you actually showed me this piece that you had either worked on or just posted, or I think you were actually drawing it on your tablet.
Actually, let's see.
Or is I
Everfree,
don't remember if it was finished or not when you showed it to me.
it was finished, but I did not have prints. I only had the display.
So
That piece is so cute.
it seems like you're a pretty heavy con goer. We met you at one of many different cons throughout the year, and from what I've been hearing beforehand, you seem to be doing quite the big circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I've done about 10 conventions this year, mixed between furry and brony conventions. I am in both communities. I'm hoping to break into doing more illustration and art, industry conventions eventually. But for the time being, I'm doing fandom conventions.
Right. And so you've done 10 this year already, which is ridiculous. That's more than one a month. And you said there's a good 4 or 5 more that you
Yep.
still have to go to.
Yep.
That seems insane to me. And I guess you must vend at all of these cons, or else this would get quite expensive.
Correct. They all pay for themselves. I do commissions between the cons, so that definitely helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that for sure that must help. It would be incredibly expensive otherwise. I know going to cons as a participant, one or two a year already starts racking it up. It's good to see that artists are able to be supported at cons. It always, I guess, because I've never been on that side of the table, that it's very difficult to see exactly like how much money you make versus how much the cost. But I'm really glad to see that these conventions do manage to for the most part, pay back the artists at the very least to cover the costs of
Yeah,
going out there.
I have the opposite problem. It's like I go to a convention, I'm not vending. I almost have an anxiety attack because it's like I don't know what to do.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, well, especially if it's like
My
a
struggle.
traditional cons are like 3 days, right? And
Right.
3 days is quite. I know, Ted. When we went to PAX, we found that experience was the first 2 days you did the most stuff, and then the third day there wasn't really that much to do. And that's a
Yeah.
huge convention, right? Video game convention. You can go around and see a ton of booths. There's so much to see, right?
Yep.
So for all of these smaller ones, 3 days is almost excessive in a way.
Yeah.
It's nice
Huh.
though. It gives me a chance to actually see people that I haven't seen in a while, and you get to meet new people. Like heck, I met you guys.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Do you find that you get a lot of uptick in business, say like through commissions or through just page views in generals from going to cons, outside of the sales that you make at the con, but do you think these cons have an impact on your brand, on your kind of pages?
Oh, certainly. I meet new people all the time. I'll be like, hey, this is my stuff. Hey, I do streams after the convention, and a lot of people like that. A lot of people like seeing the artist's work, and I love streaming because I get to interact with those people.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It
So do you
doesn't
have
end at the
uh,
con.
yeah. Do you have a kind of a streaming schedule, like a normal streaming schedule, or is it just kind of whenever you're working on a piece, you'll kind of throw up a stream and um, you know, try and have people join it and meet and interact with them there?
I have a pseudo regular stream schedule. I stream at least 5 days a week, 5, 6 days a week, and usually in the afternoon between 2 and 10 p.m. And the streams usually last from 4 to 8 hours.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
So I was reading up on your page, and this is kind of related to cons because we're talking a little bit about kind of the financial side of things. I was reading that you have been a freelance artist for the last couple of years, correct?
Correct.
So, how did that all get started? There's so many people that I know personally as artists who would love to kind of do that, to be able to get paid for a living as a freelance artist. What got you started in that, and what allowed you to kind of take that step to do it full time?
Well, it's definitely not easy. I started my journey back in December 2012, right after I was let go from one of the jobs I've had, and I needed a source of income. Yeah, like I had done commissions before. Yeah, around that time it had been picking up, so it's like, you know what? I think I can do this. And I had my followers and watchers. They're like, "Hey, we got your back." And it's those people who have helped me. Like I would not be where I am today. They pretty much helped me reach the point I am by pushing me and just helping me pay the bills.
Wow,
Remember to
that's really awesome.
remember to love your regulars because they are the ones that will save your butt in
Yeah.
the end.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That's
for
really
sure.
cool. That's really cool. And like what are some of the experiences of someone who does this, full time? Like what's your version of 9 to 5? I'm assuming that you talked about streaming a lot, but what how much time in the day does it kind of take up, and is this something that you do on the weekends? Like just for someone who isn't, aware of kind of the schedules of a full-time artist, what does it kind of entail?
Um, I don't really have a 9 to 5, and like
Mhm.
it's pretty much whenever I'm feel up to it. I mean, there's sometimes where I can go a whole week, and because I'm in a funk and I just nothing what I do is turning out. I
Right.
just don't draw for a whole week, and then the next week it's just boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
and
Right. Right.
one thing after another. Um, for me, like getting into the schedule, like getting into that streaming schedule of doing at least 4 hours of work a day, even 2 hours, can make the little difference.
Right.
Because
Right.
one of the things I fall into going to so many conventions, right after the convention, coming back home after not doing digital work or even drawing in general, it it can be really hard to get back into the swing of things. So it's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I have to do something. So I either sketch, even a little scribble. I will scribble till I see something that I'll clean up and whatnot. And I've been trying to get back into that, and so many times this past month, it's and definitely taking a toll though.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of kind of little scribbles here and there, you have a lot of different styles. Like even recently, just a lot of the pieces that I see in your gallery are kind of completely different. There's some pieces like this adorable little Luna on the moon, and there's a GIF of it that I can also throw up on the screen, or Burn can also throw up on the screen. And this is, I mean, it's a little sketchy thing that's really, really cute. And it's like, and if you look in your gallery, it's surrounded by other like fully painted pieces and stuff. So I guess, what's kind of the story behind how you choose what style you're going to use in a certain piece, or is it just kind of on a whim?
It's kind of on a whim, and like I don't know how else to explain it. Um, a lot of times, eh, like I just wing it, and the style grows with the piece,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll take that style and apply it to the next piece. Or I'll just go way out in left field.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, this this is absolutely adorable. And I guess you made the GIF first, right? And then decided to post just the static image
Correct.
of it afterwards. Yeah. It's cute little sketchy, and you have a few more of those kinds of sketches or sketchy art pieces in your gallery as well, which are really cute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for those.
Yeah.
Rare
I,
horse.
Yes.
I gotta say, I really enjoy it when people use DeviantArt to its full capability. And what I mean by that is DeviantArt, unlike a lot of different websites, gives you so many tools to customize and shift your gallery around that I really enjoy it when people come out and put everything on their DeviantArt, you know? I see so many people who will have DeviantArt and Tumblr accounts, and then they'll put, you know, only what they consider the best of the best on DeviantArt, and then they put all this other stuff on Tumblr. And when I go check them out on Tumblr or other websites, you know, they've got all this great stuff that I just don't see on their DeviantArt account. And I think a lot of people underuse their DeviantArt account. You know, they're afraid of, you know, putting out that lesser stuff because they consider the DeviantArt account something like a, you know, like a portfolio.
Yeah.
And you can set it up like that, but it's really cool to see someone who's willing to put everything out there, because I think that there is an appreciation for things that aren't always your best of the best, right? It's fun to see what an artist can do in a wide variety of situations, whether it be sketchy or fully complete, spent 20 hours on it.
Right. I like. I do post my sketchy stuff to DeviantArt, but I still hold that stuff to a standard. I won't post my blatant scribbles. It's they have to be
Right.
some standard of completeness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
there's definitely a difference between, like, you know, work in progress stuff, you know, just sketchy. I haven't fully fleshed out the concept, and looking at something and saying, oh well, this concept doesn't fit in with the rest of my gallery, you know.
Right.
Sometimes there's always masterpieces, you know, like this piece is a very good example.
yes, so good.
Definitely.
Now, did you paint that with your mouth?
Like a horse would.
Really channeling
Actually,
that horse essence.
that was left hand. That was a left hand
Nice.
sketch.
Oh, very
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I love
I
the
gotta say, there's
description.
quite the disparity between your left hand and your right hand.
Definitely.
I love the description on it. This is my magnum opus. Look upon her majestic beauty. So good.
And prints available.
Nice.
Of course, naturally.
At your local convention.
Yep.
uh, so a piece that I wanted to bring up, because we all kind of looked at it and really enjoyed it, is Starry Night. And something that kind of pops out at me are all the different color choices. Mostly just this kind of stark contrast between the yellows and oranges and these violets and blues. And I don't know, I guess it really just kind of pops out at me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, do you want to talk a little bit about kind of your inspiration behind this piece and what you thought while working on it?
Yeah, this piece, like I've had people like compare my stuff, be like, "Is this traditional? Is that watercolor? Or is that oil?" But pretty much all my stuff is digital, so I decided to play with that and push that watercolor feel even further, yeah, and push that traditional feel further. And this is the outcome of that. I did a Celestial one too, and as a companion piece, but like I had seen this color scheme before, eh, but I just wanted to see what I could do with it.
Hmm.
Mm,
Very
yeah.
cool.
What I find interesting about this piece in particular is oftentimes when we talk about contrasting colors, they're often in separate parts of the piece. You know, like one side is orange and the other side is blue, or one side is red and the other side is green. And what this piece has a little bit of that, right? Like it's got a huge separation between the darks in Luna and the brightness around her. But then on the left, you've also got this really interesting kind of pattern of oranges and darker blues that go back and forth. And I thought that that was a really cool choice because you don't see the mixture of contrasting colors
Mhm.
quite as often as you do see perhaps the stuff that you see on the right hand side of the piece.
Yeah, it was fun. Definitely, it was more of an experimental piece, but so far I've gotten pretty good reviews about it, and like I'm happy with it how it turned out.
Yeah. Well, it is Luna. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the Celestia piece that you mentioned is also very pretty. It's a lot brighter, obviously, because it's Celestia, and there's not kind of this contrast in colors. But I really do like the just the brightness and happiness that the piece kind of feels.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I've noticed personally in your gallery. Now you have a lot of pony pieces over a large span of time. You started in 2011, and I'd like to get back on that in just a minute. But I just noticed on the topic of the princesses that you seem to have a lot of princess art. Are they a particular favorite of yours?
Yes, actually, I go against the grain. My favorite is actually Celestia. All hail
Nice.
somewhat. Um, and so like I have fun with her because she's a challenge for me. And her mane and the different colors, her and Rainbow Dash, because of how they're colored in their manes, and you have to keep the volume in mind and remember that horsetails are a single thread from base to tip, and
Hmm.
so like it floats, and you have to
Right.
remember that.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
And also make it 3D and voluminous
Yep.
and stuff. So
Hmm.
work with the lighting and the shading and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that kind of goes into that you don't really realize just by looking at pieces. This is a good piece of Celestia that you did, which
Hmm.
I mean, the thing that pops out to me in this piece is the wings are fantastic, but also the hair. The hair is very like volumetric 3D,
Yeah.
and has that stranding kind of going on
I
with
feel
it.
like you made the wings for me on purpose because like they stand out from each other with complements of color. So they're blue and orange, and you can differentiate feathers that way, and then also just like the wings themselves, like the background wing being in shade with like the blue behind it.
Well,
But
And if you think about it, that would make sense because there's space between it, and there's the blue light coming in. There's all that light between the wings, so it's atmospheric perspective. So, and the back of the wing would be lit.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking.
Yeah. And it definitely makes it pop out a little bit, just because of like the change in hue and a little bit of change in value. It's yeah, I don't know. I really love the detail in those, the wings and everything. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, we can actually take a look at this a little bit closer, at least a couple of us, because you handed us a print of this one and also a couple of other prints at BronyCon. That was your gift to us, which was very generous. First of all, thank you. But yeah, this was definitely it was a standout piece for me because I hadn't seen your art before. So it's always incredible to meet new people who are making really amazing art that I have just managed to, for whatever reason, miss. And this was definitely a standout piece. I loved the depiction of the feathers and the muzzle and just the general anatomy. It's really, I guess it just kind of aligns with what I enjoy in an anatomy style. So really, really great job there.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, this piece was another companion, and though this piece and the other piece are actually have about a year difference between them.
Really?
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
So this piece versus the Celestia Luna pair.
yep.
Wow. It's kind of crazy.
Well, time leads to improvement, it's at some point or another I notice in every artist's career there's this kind of jump that someone makes when they kind of start getting it. Now it seems like um, you have kind of made that jump and now you're in an area where you're comfortable with art and you're producing these awesome pieces, but it's not always been this way. So we always love to talk to people about their origin, their roots. So, you know, when it comes to art in general, not just My Little Pony art, but how did you get started? Have you been the kind of person to draw since you were little, or was it something that you picked up later in life?
Um. Well, try and remember back. I was the kid who would trace the Pokemon out of the Pokedex books.
Right.
Yeah, growing up, and like my cousin was the more artistic one. And it's like I had always looked up to her, and it's like I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to create stuff like you. And so it's like I tried. I tried my best, and it just never really clicked. I mean,
Right.
it never. I remember being so proud of each piece I did, each little doodle or sketch I did, but um, it wasn't until my senior year that it's like of high school that I was like, okay, I want to actually learn and to get better.
Right. You want to get like serious about
Yep.
your craft.
And
Yeah.
that was in 2011, and about a year later is when I felt it's like I started looking into it deeper after I graduated, and that's when I discovered ponies. I actually
Okay.
discovered it in 2011. I watched the show every now and then, but did a couple sketches posted online, but never really went anywhere with it because I felt they were almost too simple.
Right.
I
right.
felt that they were too simple and would inhibit my growth as an artist. Yeah,
Right. Well,
and
the base concepts are quite simple. I can
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
yeah, and the funny thing is, when I started being serious and be like, okay, I'll draw a few ponies and see how it goes, and began in 2013. That's when I feel I really took off because that's when I finally learned that key fundamental using basic shapes to build form. And it's just been upwards ever since. Like, I'm so glad I went down this path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what kind of path did you take for learning it? Did you kind of set off and try and find a community or fandom and like try and keep practicing at it and getting better, or was it something that like you kind of did a lot of research on or took
Um,
classes in?
it was more along the lines of a lot of trial and error and eh, just streaming. Like, I streamed as much as I could.
Yeah.
Eventually, people saw my stuff and they're like, "Hey, why don't you try this?" So
Yeah.
a lot of what I learned has contributed to the people who I met along the way.
Hmm.
And like, I know you guys have had stuff by Antiquar Pony, Rain Gears, Dark Flame, and
Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the guys, like, especially Rain Gears and Antiquar Pony, those two, like, are the ones that I feel have helped me the most. Like, in a
Right.
way, we've helped each other along the way, but
Mhm.
I feel those two have helped me since I started into the pony stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's always really neat to see how two different artists kind of working off of each other can grow together, especially because like a lot of the times it usually just takes a second pair of eyes to see like if something's a little off or like to offer some suggestions or whatever. And it's I can definitely see a lot of like Rain Gear's stuff in your stuff and vice versa as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool.
Well, art is a community as well. I think it can often get lost because everybody puts out their own work under their own name, and much like the progress gets lost oftentimes. Like what goes into it isn't just techniques and things. Like you got to learn them from somewhere, right? Whether or not that's a textbook or from other people around you. Oftentimes this sense of community gets lost, even on people who are closely involved in it, like us, right? We miss out on all this kind of stuff, rightfully so, because it's hard to catch who's inspired by who and all that kind of thing. I sometimes we will look into artistic communities and we'll find these little group of friends, right? And it's either because we've made friends with some people in there and we learn about this friendship, or whether or not we see it through their art. But even that is such a rare occurrence that it's always so cool to me to talk to people like yourself and learn about these kind of deep entwining threads of friendship that go between the artists, because there are so many of them, and it's really awesome to hear that people are able to use that friendship to kind of collectively better their art.
Right. It's kind of funny, like, especially between Antiquar and I go way back, and it started out pretty much be like he looked up to me, and
Hmm.
then he improved so quickly that I started looking up to him. So we had this mutual senpai notice me type thing going on.
Yeah, it's always funny how that works.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That seems to be quite a common thing in the artistic community.
definitely.
Yeah. There's a lot of like back and forth too, like cycles when someone gets some free time to like really brush up on their stuff, and then the other person gets some free time. It's back and forth, back and forth.
Hmm.
Um, I wanted to bring up a really awesome piece that you did, which is this one of Madame Lafleur.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it's I think it's one of the best Madame Lafleur fan art pieces that I've seen.
Yeah, of the millions and millions of Madame Lafleur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's like
remember
every
him.
single time you say that, I think it's like, oh, this must be a pony that I'm not terribly familiar with. Oh wait, no,
It's
it's
just a
not.
bag of flour.
It's a bag flower.
I
Yeah.
remember this one. This one caused so much discussion. It's like, is she crying or throwing up?
It's just a
Well,
bag flower.
here's your chance to kind of set everyone straight. What is she doing?
I wanted to give the idea of like crying overall.
Yeah.
But I can see where the other side is coming from. I mean, the thread hatches look like eyes, and the opening looks like a mouth. But
Yeah.
Yep, very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, you
So
got eyes, mouth, ears,
Yeah.
like it's like bent
Yeah.
over. It's just like, wow.
yeah,
Even like not even throwing up, but just like oozing grain out. It's like a very
Just like
creepy
just like a
mental
dog.
image.
Just like a dog drooling.
yep.
yeah.
It's awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I also like how like your audience can kind of interpret things differently. Yeah. Just
It's
Kinda
always like you
cool
paint
thing.
something with like a certain intention, but then it's like you realize later after you're done staring at it for like several hours making it that, oh wait, it's totally doing something else that I didn't intend,
Yep.
you know? And so like that happens a lot in art where you get so engrossed in something that you make and then you put it out there and everyone's like, oh, this is clearly a face drooling, and you're like, ah, crap.
Sure. Sure.
That,
Yeah.
that seems to happen a lot.
It totally meant to do that.
But
Yeah.
symbolism is something that I love to incorporate into my pieces. Definitely. Symbolism and like hidden meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Fancy.
it's funny that you mentioned that. I was meaning to bring up another piece and found the perfect transition because we're talking a little bit about Madame Lafleur and crying, and we've also got this piece too. It's called Falling Stars, and it's got this really interesting piece of symbolism and this mixture between these two pieces on the top and the bottom. You've got Luna on the top, and you've got Celestia and her kingdom at the bottom, and the transition between the two of them are these two light pillars that turn into kind of tears that Luna is spilling. So I thought this was a really, really interesting piece of that contained a lot of the symbolism that you were just talking about.
Yeah. Pretty much this piece, and the idea behind it is when Celestia banished Luna to the moon, Celestia took over everything that Luna had been doing. So you gotta think, it's like, hey, she had all that weight put on her shoulders, and imagine how much time that takes up. Imagine how much that can wear on a person. And eventually, like, hey, you get so wrapped up into doing all that. Pretty much, this is right before, and like, I feel that Celestia finally got into the swing of things. Like, she's so wore out, and she has all that burden that she had to banish her sister,
Right,
and she has a duty to uphold.
right, right. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
the queen. I mean,
Yeah. You would think that like she would try and find another prize pupil sooner, if because she did take on all these duties, and I'm sure that it was very stressful. And it's like, well, you could
just like leading a
offload
nation.
some.
But
But
remember,
Twilight's
she
never been a
tried.
delegator or a delegatee, you know, like she's never.
Yeah.
Not yet. Wait, she's been a delegate. She's like sent her on political missions. She's been-
Yeah.
I
But
suppose so,
remember,
but
she
never,
did.
never
In this,
replacing
like,
Luna.
She
Oh,
did
yeah,
try.
no.
She did try with Sunset Shimmer.
She's
Yeah.
getting there. I mean, small steps. You know, like Yaks, a
It's
few
only
other
taken a couple
things,
thousand years. Yeah.
And
I
then,
suppose
then
so,
we'll
but I
be
feel like
a
Twilight has her
ruler
own
of
domain.
Planet of the Day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing is Celestia and Luna just want to run like the day and night cycles, right? And just kind of work on like worldly functions, but then Twilight's just like, here you go, run the kingdom, do everything else, you know? Like all the political stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, she's the queen, or not queen, gah, keep saying that. She's the princess of friendship, like there you go.
Yeah.
So like friendship and also non-violent political ties.
And also what I
Yuck,
feel like not
smosh.
doing today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Celestia just yawns, raises the sun, and her job's done. It's like, right, Twilight, run the kingdom.
I do like how this piece is laid out. I love the kind of separation between Luna and Celestia, and how like Luna's bib kind of mirrors Celestia's throne in there as well, and then obviously the tears, like Max was saying earlier.
I just appreciate the vertical layout of the bottom portion with like the what are those banners and stuff, and then the windows. It's just like, I don't know, it creates really strong, I don't know, vertical symmetry and stuff.
Yeah. I really enjoy a lot of the kind of symbolism and interesting kind of takes on things that you do. I wanted to bring this one up quickly. we're a pony show, so we tend to focus on a lot of pony art. But this is a furry art piece that really stood out to me in your gallery. Something that I thought was really really amazing. Um, I definitely appreciate a lot of furry art outside of ponies. But this one in general, just the symbolism is really really cool to me. It's obviously got some sense of like it gives you an impact, right? Like you look at it and you go, oh, but I don't know. It strikes me as having so much meaning behind it. It's so much more than just this first reaction, which is kind of recoil.
Yeah. This one definitely helped me through a tough point this year.
Hmm.
Uh, just because I had done so many kinds back after back, and I
Mm.
come back home and there's nobody. Cons are
Right.
my escape from it, and the only time I get to see a lot of my friends. So coming
Right.
back at home, not getting able to see those people, that
Mm.
that had an impact, and this piece helped me through it.
Yeah. That's that's
Mm.
that's really awesome to hear. It's great to hear that art can. And I think, the cool thing is that not only can art help you through a tough time, but I think art in a lot of ways helps a lot of other people through tough times as well, you know? And so that's really cool to hear the story behind that a little bit. And you're right, post-con depression is absolutely a thing. I think
Yeah.
everybody kind of goes through it in their own form. But I love the way that you can take that and you can funnel that raw emotion into a piece such as this. And again, I love the different symbolism that you include in
Yeah.
pieces such as
Even
this.
just looking how it's painted, like there's a lot of stuff I love about this, just how it's rendered. Like I really like the tufts of fur on the character on the up above, like the back of his neck and how it like blends into the background and like the fur on the side of his cheek. It's awesome. It's good painting.
Hmm. Great
Hmm.
job. We
Yeah,
are a pony show, though. No, 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 no.
definitely.
Sue me.
Dog and Pony Show.
Yeah,
Well,
there you
here
go.
let's
Dogs,
let's
ponies.
let's
And
pull up a pony piece that I also thought was really impressive, and it's a different flow, right? This is
Mm.
this is one you've done really recently, end of August, and this is Fausticorn, looking quite fetching, and yeah, it's quite the lovely piece. I love the amount of detail that went into it, and I really enjoy the color choices as well. They're kind of very bright and yellowy, and it gives off this sense of a lot of sunlight, and I really enjoy that.
Mm.
Well, like it's just kind of very sunlit and also
Hmm.
looks like there's a presence of a lot of light, which I
Yeah.
feel like even if intentional or not is a smart choice because light in like traditional art is usually seen as the presence like of God or someone who is holy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like to make the background of a thing of Faust, like the creator of the My Little Pony universe, kind of puts her as like almost a religious figure in like the center there, which I think is make adds to the effect.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I also like the symmetry, or like the almost symmetry, because it's not like a mirror image on either side. But there are, like, each individual piece is kind of, there has a component on the other side of the piece as well. So like you get these vines going up the columns and the bushes on the top, and they're all different but similar to the piece on the other side.
Yeah.
You actually had a special version of this for EQLA, didn't you?
yes, yes. I had a very large 28 by 37 in print of this that was put into the charity auction, and
Wow.
it ended up
Wow.
going for $360
Wow.
Wow.
for the charity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Huh?
That's really awesome. Have you participated in a charity event before, or was this your first one?
I have, but like at Ciderfest, I included a painting that I did a while ago of Princess Fluttershy.
Mm.
Huh.
That's always
Nice.
awesome to hear. I love hearing when artists are contributing back to the community with you know charity auction pieces.
Mhm.
It really does a lot to help out, and it's really great PR for bronies. These
Yeah.
days we don't get very good PR, so it's always
Yeah.
awesome to hear. And it's of course it's also awesome to hear all the people who are crazy generous enough um, to be able to drop the kind of money on these kind of things for charity.
Right. And one thing that I love doing, I found a place that I can do the stretch canvas prints, which eh,
Mm.
people really like those, and they do pretty decent in the charity auctions.
Hmm.
I've done charity putting stuff to the charity auction at about 4 cons now.
Hmm.
Mhm. Mm.
So
Cool, cool. That's great to hear.
Hmm. So you brought up this Princess Flutters piece, and I actually wanted to bring this up earlier because I find it absolutely adorable. She's so cute, and I love the kind of the color choices used in her mane. These little splashes of blues and purples and stuff.
well,
Um,
this is based off of her little costume from Testing 1, 2, 3.
hmm.
Oh
Back,
yeah.
yep, when at the end, when Twilight's flying Rainbow Dash above everyone else as they play the history of the Wonderbolts.
Oh, that's
Right.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, what a small little detail. I don't actually remember it from that episode. But no, that's really awesome.
She was so adorable in that costume. How could you forget? Gasp.
It's one of those episodes that remember I don't go back and rewatch a lot of episodes, but it's definitely one of those episodes that like I feel like I should go back and rewatch
Hmm.
Yeah,
for
that was
so
a really
many
good
because
episode.
I remember thinking about it and going like, oh wow, I really enjoyed this episode, and this is just like one of the small things that was really awesome about it.
Hmm.
Yep.
I do like kind of the feeling of it being just like a portrait or a bust of Fluttershy's head, kind of floating in these clouds, because I don't, it's not something that you really see every day
Mm.
in art. Very cool.
Hmm. Okay, so at some point there are two art pieces that I wanted to get to, and one of them was again not a pony piece. So why don't we do that one first
Yeah, let's do that one first.
before we go to the surprise that he had for us today. I really really love this one, and if anybody complains about this not being a pony piece, I don't care because I think there are so many times when we sit down and we discuss artists, not usually in interviews, but outside of interviews, and I'm not sure if you've heard this, but we often discuss artists and we say there's kind of a moment in every artist's careers when they take things to the next level. And you'll be following this artist and they're kind of up and coming, and then suddenly they put out this piece and you go, whoa, and you can kind of see the raw potential of what someone can do when given the time and the inspiration. And I feel like this is a really defining piece for your gallery because this is something that stands out amongst the other pieces as something that really took me back and went, whoa, this is the kind of stuff that he's really capable of. So why don't you take us through this piece a little bit, the backstory, your inspirations, and just kind of what it is.
Well, this piece was a realization. It's like, okay, I need to do something that's not pony.
Right.
And I need and so because my gallery had become saturated with it. I had people be like, "Hey, when are you going to do a not pony thing?" And I was like taken back. It's like, "Oh shoot, I forgot my roots." It felt like,
That's still a thing.
Yeah.
yeah, because furry is what got me into drawing,
Right.
and
Right.
so I needed to do something to reflect on that. And a few of my favorite artists in the fur community had been doing some really nice tribal stuff, and
Right.
especially with the African wild dogs and different animals like that.
Hmm.
And I wanted to incorporate some sort of like mythology, a little bit of a landscape, really intense and contrasting, and this is what came out of it.
Hmm.
Wow.
It's really really pretty, amazing. I love the color swirls, both the pinks in the bottom and this green aurora borealis kind of effect or northern lights effect in the top.
Hmm.
Um, it kind of makes the piece really pop out.
Yeah. How long did it take you to make this piece in terms of like man hours?
About 15, 20 hours.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
I would expected something higher like 30 or 40, but it's really cool to see that you're able to make something like this in just 20 hours. Although from the description it sounds like you split up those hours over several months,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, I had sketched it back in February, like it said, but then, like, I put in, back then, I was maybe 1, 2 hours sketch and get everything laid out, get composition laid out, basic colors and like that, and it just sat on the back burner.
Hmm.
Right.
And then I decided, hey,
Hmm.
I have nothing going on. Let's do this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do this you did.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
keep in mind that Sleeping Celestia was a 15-hour painting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I really enjoy this piece, and I think this there are a couple of pieces in your gallery that really stick out to me and go like, okay, well here's kind of the realization of a potential here, and I think that this is definitely one of these pieces. Is there something in particular that you did differently in this piece, or did it all just kind of come together?
If anything, the one thing I did different with this piece would be the using of quick masks. I
Okay.
use that quite a bit,
Hmm.
especially in the foliage and the background, especially and in the fur. I use that. Um,
Okay.
using I used a variety of different brushes. I start out with a lot of like pre-made texture brushes or stamp brushes, and
Hmm.
then I use those with the round brush to refine them and make them my own.
Okay. So you did some customization on that
Yeah.
side as well.
Yep.
Hmm.
Cool.
So I guess with this piece, what is kind of like the steps that you take when creating the piece? Because you mentioned that you sketch it out at first. Do you kind of then go through and kind of set your values or your colors, or I guess what's kind of the process for a piece like of this magnitude for you?
Well, for me, like the most important thing of all is gain the values. Gain the values and gain that form, and because at the end of the day, colors don't matter if the values aren't there. Hey, like there without the improper values, something can look flat or on the wrong plane of existence.
Right.
And like even subtle changes can make the world of difference.
Mm. Yeah. So you lay down the values first, and then afterwards you go through and you think about the colors separately.
Yep, pretty
Hmm.
much sketch it, put in the values, throw down the rough color, and then go from there.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the color in this piece because I feel like it's segmented and it's kind of compartmentalized, if that makes any sense, right? Like
Yep.
the sky is blue and a little bit of purple. The aurora borealis is green and a little bit of yellow. You've got the ground, which is yellow and a little bit of orange, and then you've got these this magic tendril stuff in the front, which is more of like a pink. But each one is kind of separated, and what it does is it really separates the magic effects in both the bottom and the top from the environment, like the sky or the ground. And I like how, the value makes the characters pop, but the color makes these magical effects pop a lot more.
Hmm.
It's really really cool work. I really really enjoy this, and I'm glad that we're able to feature it, even though it's not pony, because I think there are a lot of lessons that, regardless of the subject material, that you can learn and share between artists. And let's be honest, brony and furry work are pretty similar.
Yeah.
Just the characters.
Yeah. And I mean, we featured non-pony stuff before, so yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, I guess we should move on to one last piece. I
Well,
guess.
actually, before
But you know what?
if
I
wait,
just wanted to open the floor for a
Good.
second here,
Yeah.
yeah,
because we're about to go into a piece, and that's going to kind of wrap it up. So I wanted to, before I do that, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, Blind Coyote. Is there one piece in particular that you wanted to show off that you thought people who are listening to this interview should know about?
Um, let's see. Let's see. Here we go. This piece. It's called Crystal Slaves, and this piece was done for a collection of villain pieces that I did. Um, this piece it was a challenge for me. I had
yeah,
never painted crystals. The the monochrome background was different. Working with such saturated colors, it was interesting. But this is something that I had never done.
hmm,
So, it just trying to capture the feel for this whole piece was uh, definitely a challenge, and definitely I learned a lot from it.
huh. I guess where did you kind of come up with the concept for this piece? Because it's very interesting how like the background is monochrome, desaturated, but the foreground is all these vibrant colors, and each color is again compartmentalized into its own corner or section of the piece. So I guess what kind of inspired you to do that?
I wanted to, especially for the background. Let's start with that. I
Hmm.
wanted to do that with the background because that when people draw history or you see history photos in textbooks, eh, they are in black and white or
Hmm.
very limited color palettes. And I wanted to capture that to give the viewer a sense of this was a long time ago.
Hmm.
And so, and that's why I wanted to capture. And then I included the color uh, in the foreground and to and show and give a sense that this is now and this is and that is what could be now if we don't get the heart.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's more of like a foreboding kind of thing. Like this was the past, and this could potentially be the future.
Right.
Huh. That's interesting. And I guess kind of the vibrancy of the colors is also a bit ominous and like overlooming.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
All right, so I guess let's bring up that last piece then. Max, do you want to introduce this? Or
Sure.
Blind Coyote, do you want to introduce
Why
it?
don't we get him to introduce it?
Yeah.
Da-da-da. and, and I present my special painting for you guys. Uh, yeah, I have been watching and listening to your guys' show for about 2 years now, and just having it on in the background while I draw or whatnot. And I've enjoyed the journey. You guys have helped me learn. You guys helped me through a lot. And just listening to when I was having a tough day, um,
Mhm.
it's helped me grow as an artist. Because hearing the things that you guys talked about, hearing about like the key aspects you like in different pieces from different artists, I get to not only grow from what you guys are saying, but grow from seeing how other artists approach different problems.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Um, so with further ado, eh, there is my gift to you.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. So this is a really awesome piece of fan art, and
Mhm.
I have to say, we don't often get these pieces of fan art in interviews, so it's an honor to have you do that.
Yeah.
It was really unexpected, and it was really cool of you to do. So thank you so much.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
No
And it's
I'll have
problem.
to
also very heartwarming for you to say too. It was a good speech. I'm all emotional.
I know. I'm speechless in a way. We'll have to forward this on to Joel.
Yeah, we'll definitely hand that off to him.
This is really amazing.
Yeah.
Joel, wake up! Look at this.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the piece itself as well. I really like the way that you've kind of laid out the characters and their poses and things like that, and I guess this is kind of inherent to our characters, but I often enjoy when I see the four of us together, the way that our color schemes kind of work, and I enjoy the way that you've placed them and used those color schemes as kind of the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really nice.
I love how Burns just hanging on for dear life.
Looks very
It's so
angry
good.
about it. I didn't agree to go on this brush ship.
I look almost sinister. I've got like a snaky face. I like it. So I'm a bat pony, so I've got like the bat pony eyes, you know, the more oval.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So what's kind of the backstory here?
The backstory, it can be kind of thanked to Rainier. Like he's the one I approached when I was like, hey, I want to do something for these guys. How, like, I had sketched out this basic outline of what I wanted to do. This like, Rainier, who do I put where? It's like, well, Rainbow Plasma is kind of the lead. Burns just doesn't know what's going on a lot of the time. He just is in for the ride.
Go on.
Thanks, Ryan.
Water guy is in there, and
I love these descriptions. They're great.
And Atro Spark is missing all the time.
Aw, yeah.
So he's getting left behind. I dig it.
That's great.
Fantastic.
That's really funny. That's really funny. Well, it looks fantastic, and really thank you so much for doing that. I really love it, and I love the fact that it is maybe not quite 16 by 9, but
it's massive.
the effort was there. It's a nice wider screen.
It's
So
darn
Well,
close.
yeah,
well-
it's close enough that I could probably crop this into a background.
And it's
And,
massive too.
Most of the time, I work in 11 by 17 because that's my primary print size. So
Smart man.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Into the
Cool.
background folder it goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you again so much for this piece and for those heartfelt words. Like, it's really touching.
Very much
And
so. Thank you.
and thank you for being on.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
This is a pleasure.
So, speaking of which, we are kind of running down on time, so we should wrap up here soon. And we want to make sure that you get your fair dues for being on the show. So, why don't you let us know and let the audience know where everyone can find you online?
Yeah, no problem. I can be found primarily for my pony stuff at least at blindcoyote.deviantart.com. I'm also on Tumblr, blindcoyote/mod.tumblr.com, and Twitter, blindcoyoteart at Twitter, and I'm also on Picardo, Blind Coyote,
Which
and
have good URLs now.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
picardo.com/BlindCoyote.
Yeah.
and also for Affinity as Blind Coyote.
Cool. So you're kind of Blind Coyote across the board.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. I like
With
that.
occasional suffixes here and there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, all that stuff will be on the screen. We got lots of plugs from you. That's great. So people should go check him out there. He's definitely one of those artists that you want to be watching right now because
Yeah.
all the cool stuff I think has come out. You know, all
In
the stuff
fact-
that I would look at and love has come out in the last like 6 months or so, and usually when that happens, it means that it's kind of only up from here.
Yeah.
So
And you've also been watching him for the past hour, so you know.
there you go.
Why not
You
keep
might as
watching
well,
him?
right? You're obligated to now. So, yeah, thanks again for coming on, Blind Coyote. It was really fun to have you, and it was great to meet you at BronyCon.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right. Well, now that
you
you've done
already-
your plugs, we've got to do our plugs as well. Unfortunately, we're missing our plug guy here today, so one of my two coworkers is going to have to pick up the slack here. Who's it going to be?
Oh, ooh, me. Choose me. And Burn sits over there quiet.
I'm a teacher, just go.
Slink down under my desk.
All right, so we have a DeviantArt page, which is cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. We have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/cutieartcrusaders. We have a Gmail account, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. We have Facebook, facebook.com/cutieartcrusaders. We have Twitter, which is @cutieartcrusade. We have a Tumblr, which is Cutie Art Crusaders on Tumblr. And we have a Picardo, which is picardo.tv/cutieartcrusaders.
You can find us on Cutie Art Crusaders everywhere, and on Twitter, Cutie Art Crusade.
Thanks, Twitter.
It's Twitter. All right. Well, that is everything for this week, guys. I hope that everyone enjoyed this interview. I hope you enjoyed being on BlindCoyote. Thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure.
Well, it was a pleasure having you. And that is everything for this week, guys. I believe next week we're going back to the regular format, so we're gonna have a regular old episode, unless Bernd has anything to say about that.
I'm gonna be inviting people, but no confirmation as of yet, or
All right, sounds good, Areno.
So we'll have Burned on as a special guest. Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, that is everything. We're gonna have a spoiler cast after this, as usual. So look forward to that. If you're on the stream, then just stay tuned, and if you're on YouTube, you can go check it out on our YouTube channel. And that is everything, unless anybody else has anything else to say.
No.
All right.
Hey.
So thank you guys for watching, whether or not you're on the live stream or on YouTube. We love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
My name's Burn.
I'm ThunderGuy317.
And I'm BlindCoyote.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Cool.